Four Rings, Vin Scully Stories, and more. Tim Neverett joins the show in a can't-miss conversation here on Locked On Dodgers.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Harry Ruiz, that's Travis Rodgers, and it's time for a special edition of Locked On Dodgers with exclusive in-person conversations with voices that help define the Dodgers experience. On today's show, we go behind the scenes in the minors with Alex Freedman, the voice of the Oklahoma City Comets, on what it's like to juggle broadcasting and media relations and the rehab assignment that stuck with him most. But first, we're talking with Dodgers broadcaster Tim Neverett, diving into his journey, his championships, and some unforgettable stories, including a couple involving the one and only Vin Scully. So we're kicking off with Neverett's journey through baseball history. When you think about the sound of Dodgers baseball today, one of the voices that you hear belongs to Tim Neverett. But what's fascinating is the path that got him here, Travis, and the moments along the way that most fans never get to hear about.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear it, Harry. Anytime I hear the name Vin Scully, it puts a smile on my face. It puts me in a good mood. So I'm all ears, and we're terribly, terribly spoiled here in LA with the different voices that we have calling our games, in particular Dodger baseball. So I'm excited to hear this one.
I sat down one-on-one and talked about everything from his 4 World Series rings to the why behind his career, and even a couple of incredible personal stories about Vin Scully that really show the kind of person he was beyond the microphone. Here's part 1 of my conversation with Tim Neverett. Tim Neverett, our guest here on the Locked On Dodgers podcast. Rings. You got 4 total. What do you do with them? Do you have a safe that you just it was like they don't leave, or do you wear them? What do you do with them? Because
I got one with me. I'll show you. I got the latest one. I just got it, and this is it here. They're big, like they're really big. See, and they're heavy. They're really big. They're great. I mean, it's like, what do you do with them? You bring them out on special occasions. You share them with people. I know a lot of Dodger fans who are friends of mine. Part of the reason I brought the ring with me today was to share it with people I know here in Las Vegas, with the ball club in Las Vegas, and also some of the Oklahoma City guys, plus my kids, and I have some other personal friends in town that want to see it, who are big Dodger fans. I've got friends in Los Angeles who are big Dodger fans, and I'll share it with them. They can take pictures with it and things like that, but a lot of times I do lock it up. And I've got them in a place. They're together, yeah, and I locked them up. I got 1 from the Red Sox, 3 from the Dodgers. Mookie Betts and I have the same exact collection, so I'm proud of that too. That he and I have the same collection. And again, as I said before, I've got friends in this business that haven't sniffed one of these, and so I feel extremely fortunate, and I'm very, very grateful that I get to have these. And it's just it helps to, I guess, commemorate what you've done in your career. And I've been around a lot of winning baseball, fortunately. Even when I was with the Pittsburgh Pirates, I mean, my last 3 years, we went to the postseason. They haven't been back since. But, all 3 years with the Red Sox, we went to the postseason, won a World Series. So I've seen a lot of winning baseball. I've been around it. And really, again, I feel really lucky that I've got, this hardware to be able to show people. It's got my name on it, so can't be anybody else's.
Hey, if you want your team in the postseason, hire Tim Neverett. That's a guarantee right there. Growing up, playing the sport through college, did you ever dream like holding on to that ring and being able, and then doing it in this fashion?
Never. My goal when I started broadcasting was to get to the major leagues and stay. That was my goal. I had no other goal. Getting to the big leagues and then experiencing, all the things that I have, it just, experiencing what it was like, especially the first time. I mean, you win the World Series. I mean, I remember during Game 4 of the World Series in 2018, Steve Pearce, who went on to become the World Series MVP that year, hit a bases-clearing double. It might have been the 6th or 7th inning. And I called the play, and I paused, and I said to myself, we're going to win this. We're going to win the World Series. And then I had to like shake myself back to consciousness and then get back to my job. But it was a moment that I had that I was like outside of myself saying, we're going to do this. And it's really an incredible feeling. And, you know, in that one, the Dodgers don't allow us down in the clubhouse after postseason games. But the Red Sox, after the World Series, we were down there. We did interviews. It was incredible. They went nuts, and it was a lot of fun. You know, was involved in the parade. You know, the Dodgers don't have the broadcasters in the parade, but the Red Sox did, and I got to experience that. And it's like 1 million people lining the streets of Boston. It was incredible. So I've been really lucky to have those experiences, and I wish, you know, I wish more of my friends in the business would get a chance to do it at least once.
You always say the latest is the sweetest, but there's nothing like that first one. So I can imagine from what I'm hearing from you, that's amazing. So I also got to ask you, the seat that you have, taking Vin Scully, who for decades and decades broadcasted the Dodgers, does that hit you very often where you're like, hey, I'm in Mr. Scully's spot?
Yeah, because I knew him before I had the job. Excuse me. And he was really special. I mean, this guy was amazing. Funny story. So my first year with Pittsburgh, I'm walking into the press box in the afternoon, just got to the ballpark, and he happens to be in the booth, in the Dodger booth, with his back facing the field, so he's looking out the door into the hallway. And I walk by, and I'm like, oh, there's the man. And I hear, hey, Tim. And I literally stopped in my tracks. I'm like, how does he know my name? Well, he's Vin Scully. He knows he knew everything. So I said, I backed up, got in the doorway. I said, yeah, Mr. Scully. Oh, Vin, call me Vin. Come here, sit down. I was like, oh, my God. And so I sat with him for a while. We talked baseball. He asked me about my family. He asked all kinds of questions. And we talked baseball for a while, and he shook my hand, and he said, well, I'll see you tomorrow. I can't wait to talk to you again. I mean, I felt like $10 million after I got out of that conversation. So the next year, come back, same thing. I'm walking in. Now he knows me. I know, hey, Vin knows me. So I walk by the doorway. He's looking out the same direction, and he goes, hey, Tom. And I go, he got 2 of the 3 letters right. That's close. Good enough for me. Like, hey, Vin, okay. But I was on the air in San Francisco with Rick Monday the night that he passed, and we were told a couple of months ahead of time to have something prepared because he went into hospice that day. And he was in hospice for a while, and we were in San Francisco. We were told in the top of the 5th inning, but we were told not to say anything yet until the family cleared it. So we knew, and Rick Monday had known him since he was a kid. I mean, Rick was shaken. He was expecting it, but he was shaken. And half inning goes by. We're not really paying that much attention to the game at this point. We're trying to call it. Rick's not saying anything. And then we get a text from the front office saying, okay, go on with it when you come back. So I turned to Rick and I go, Rick, I can't bring it back. I said, you are the one who needs to bring it back. I said, you've known him since you were 18 years old. You got to bring it back. And he just went like that. And we came back from break, and he started, and he was as eloquent as could be. And I couldn't tell you who won that game. I don't know what the score was. The rest of the night, we talked about Vin. We talked about other things. We called Charlie Steiner on the phone and had him on to talk about Vin. And then Larry Baer, the president of the Giants, came in the 7th inning, and he expressed his condolences to us, and he said, look, we're not going to put it up on the scoreboard or anything because we don't know who down in the dugout knows Vin, and we don't want to affect the integrity of the game. So when the game was over, they didn't play any organ music like they normally do. They just left the ballpark in San Francisco silent. All you could hear were the seagulls. And they put it up there on the scoreboard, date of birth, date of death, Vincent Edward Scully. People stopped what they were doing. They were leaving. The umpires were leaving. They stopped. They turned around. And a spontaneous applause broke out in this silent stadium after this Major League game had just ended. And again, all you could hear in the background were the oversized seagulls that are up there by the bay. It was one of the most surreal moments I've had in sports ever, in Major League Baseball especially. How he was honored and how the Giants fans all turned around and they applauded him. And it was really a moment I'll never, ever forget.
And his final broadcast was out there, too, at AT&T Park. It's like fitting and class organization, even though we don't like them as opponents, as rivals, that shows the type of class that they have.
Exactly, and there's a plaque in the visitors' television booth commemorating that, and I'd always go in there and put my hand on it when I would go up there. My first, first 4 years with the Dodgers, I did a lot of television. Joe and I split the television games, and my first TV game, sitting in that seat with that point of view, it wasn't lost on me. I was literally hitting my leg like this, going, how did this kid from New Hampshire get to sit in this seat? And it wasn't lost on me, believe me. I felt a massive responsibility, and still do, even when I'm on radio, because Vin was on radio for a lot of years. But when you call a Dodger game, I feel a responsibility because I know we have a large audience, and it's an international audience. Our broadcasts are worldwide every day. So I believe me, it's not lost on me.
Man, you're telling the stories. I'm getting chills. You live them, and I'm getting chills over here. Just a couple of last questions. I'm pretty sure you get tons of up-and-coming broadcasters asking you for advice, and I tell them it's like it changes year after year what they can do. What's the best advice you can give a young up-and-comer that wants to step into the sports broadcasting industry?
Yeah, I'm honored when I get asked. I get asked semi-often, fairly often, even from my own son. But the advice that I give people is that you're going to hear no a lot in this business. Don't stop asking for the job. Once you get the job, cherish the job. Doesn't matter what you're calling, who you're calling it for, what level you're at. Do the absolute very best you can, whether it's for 4 million people or for 4 people. You have to study it. You can't just do a game and go home. Even with my situation, like today on my drive here, I put on last night's game in the car, and I listened to every little thing. I listened to things. I know what happened. I know what I'm about to say, and I want to hear what the audience hears. And I constantly critique myself. And on television, the same thing. Spring training, I go home or go back to where I'm staying in Arizona, put my bag down, start getting ready for the next day. I flip that day's game on. And I watch the Open, how we did it, how it turned out, what I said, was it right, was it wrong? You got to constantly critique yourself and listen to other people, and never ever be afraid to ask for help from other people who are a step above you somewhere. But create a network, and don't give up. It might take you a long time. I know guys, it's taken an awful long time, but they get an opportunity. Some guys never get the opportunity. It's you never know how it's going to turn out, but believe in yourself and bet on yourself.
My last one. How many more years, man? You're a young man, but sometimes people think about retirement. Obviously, Vin, it took him a lot of years, and we enjoyed it. How many more years are we going to enjoy you on the mic?
I never think about it. It's my hope it's a lot more. I think age is just a number, and it matters how you feel. I feel great. I'm in good health. And as long as I can do it, I'm going to do it. And that could be 10 more years, 20 more years. I wouldn't mind catching Rick Monday. You know how old he is?
No, I don't. Off the top of my head, I don't.
He hasn't aged in a decade.
Exactly, because since I started watching him and listening to him, he looks the same.
He's 80.
Woo.
He's 80. But he's still sharp. He hasn't aged in a decade. He's sharp as a tack. He's always very well prepared. There's a guy who could mail it in, but he doesn't. He really doesn't. He works hard at it. But I don't know, to answer your question, retirement's not on the table. I enjoy what I do too much, and I want to keep doing it.
All right, that's part one with Neverett, and I love how he brings you inside moments that feel bigger than just baseball. So what stood out to you the most from this conversation? Was it the World Series perspective or those Vin Scully stories? Let me know in the comments on YouTube or hit me on social media. I want to hear from you. Coming up on Locked On Dodgers, we shift from the legacy he's lived to the legacy that he's helping build. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient, sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve, while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person, and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment. Baseball is finally back, and to celebrate, I'm giving you a full month of the Everydayer Club for free. Go to LockedOnDodgers.supercast.com and use the code FINALLY. You'll unlock every episode ad-free and get access to our private listener group chat. Tap the link in the show notes and use the code FINALLY to claim your free month. Legacy in real time. Neverett on family, prep, and the grind. Now, we take the conversation a step further, because for Tim Neverett, this isn't just about what he's accomplished. It's about what comes next. Travis, we talk about what it means for him to see his son, Matt, stepping into the broadcasting world, building his own voice with UNLV and the Las Vegas Aviators. And that's that's special, man, to be able to see your kid follow your footsteps and doing it in a big way. I can't imagine how proud he is.
Yeah, you know, the broadcasting has a tree that runs through families, to be sure. You know, we've seen it time and time again where a successful father will have a son that kind of steps into it. Of course, the Bucks are a famous example of this. And, you know, we're starting to see it in the NBA world, where Ian Eagle, of course, has been calling games for a long time. His son, Noah Eagle, is now calling games on a variety of different platforms. So it's always a treat when you get to see a father and son kind of follow in his footsteps. It's very, very cool.
And we also got into the details fans don't always think about, like how he prepares for spring training, working alongside Rick Monday, and what goes into calling every single preseason game when most people are still easing into baseball mode. Here's part 2 of my conversation with Tim Neverett. Before talking about the Dodgers, we got to talk about the most important thing in your life. One of your three most important things in your life. Matt, how proud are you of his career, how he's doing his thing over with UNLV, out here with the Aviators, following his dad's footsteps?
Yeah, very proud of him. I mean, he's done well, and he's in a good spot. You know, being here with the Aviators, doing his stuff with UNLV, he's in a really, really good spot. This is a great market. And I told him years ago, I said, this market's going to explode. It is on the verge of exploding. And I said, it's not going to be long before they have all 4 major sports teams. And that's coming true. And so he's seen it up close and personal. He's been a part of it. He's, you know, really enjoying calling UNLV football and basketball. And he's always enjoyed baseball. And, you know, here getting a chance to work with Russ and do a lot of baseball. So I'm very proud of him, very proud of what he's been able to do. And, you know, he's still young in the business, and I think he's going to have a really good future. And, you know, his brothers are doing well. His middle brother, Kyle, who works in the sports gaming industry, and his younger brother, younger brother, Drew, who sometimes broadcasts with him. He kind of fell into it a little bit, but he works in sports logistics for one of those companies in town. And so they're doing very well, and I'm glad that they're thriving here in Las Vegas.
I'm predicting it. He's going to get one of those big seats once you get either the A's or the NBA team. He's an incredible broadcaster. Big props to you that you were a part of his career. Now, speaking about your career, how was it being able to be a part of another World Series team? That's 4, and I'm 1,000% biased as a Dodger fan, but we got the best broadcast crew in all the sports, play-by-play analysis, pre- and post-game, and you're a big part of it.
Well, thank you very much. We have a big crew. I think we might have the biggest crew in baseball, to be honest with you. That's why I'm not on the road trip, because we have so many guys that we don't do 162 games anymore. And it's a trend in baseball that I'm seeing more and more of. I don't think I like it. I think that when you're a broadcaster for a major league team, that's your job. You know, if you want a day off, that's plenty of days in November, December, January for you. But that's just my philosophy. That's kind of how I grew up in the game. But, you know, I'm happy that I get to do what I get to do with the Dodgers. I mean, I've already done almost 40 games already, believe it or not. Rick Monday and I did every spring training game. We did 33 games in 35 days on TV and radio. And, you know, we've gone through the first couple of series here with Arizona and Cleveland, and then I get a little bit of a break right now. I'll go back next week when we play Texas. And, and Charlie Steiner's coming back to do a couple of different innings here and there. He's still, fighting some serious health issues, but he feels well enough at times to come out and call a couple of innings. So he's going to do that occasionally. But we have a great group. Joe Davis has just, really taken off. He's done a great job. And, being around people like Oral Hershiser and Nomar Garciaparra and, of course, Eric Karros and people like that, I've had the chance to do a lot of work with those guys and become friendly with them. And, it's just been, a blessing for me. And I feel really lucky. And talk about, the World Series. I've been around 4 different World Championship teams. And there's a lot of friends of mine in this business that haven't been around one. So I realize how rare it is. I realize how much I need to appreciate it, and I really do.
I got to ask you about spring training. You brought up, you broadcasted every single game. There's organizations that broadcast select games. There's organizations that don't broadcast a single spring training game. The Dodgers, they bring their fans every single game. How much of a challenge is that? Because I'm pretty sure there's not the same amount of game notes that you get for a regular season game, a postseason game, but we listen to your broadcast and you're as informed as anybody else in the Dodgers organization about these guys. Maybe only Brandon Gomes knows a little bit more about the guys than you, but I mean, you make it sound flawless with spring training games.
Well, thank you. I'm sure somebody knows more than I do. I guarantee you that. But I actually, I have a system. I have a way that I prepare. It starts in January. I wait till after the holidays and then get after it. I don't want to give up all my secrets, but I have a database that is built, that we build it, and I use it during spring training. And then I go in the clubhouse and I talk to guys. That's why I know some of the guys here with Oklahoma City. I come in, I spend a bunch of time with a lot of them in spring training. They tell me their stories, and I relay those stories on the broadcast. Scott Hennessy, the manager, I went up and talked to Henny, and he said, "Hey, thanks for giving me time." He was coaching third base for us for a little while. Well, Dino Ebel was away at the World Baseball Classic. He goes, "Yeah, my wife told me you were talking about me." I'm like, but you get stories about people, and you put them in the memory banks, you write them down, I put them in the database, and then we refresh it over the course of the winter. And, you try to be as informed as you can. You talk to everybody you can. Spring training, I think our first game against the Angels back on the 21st of February, we had 58 players combined in the game.
Yep.
And Rick Monday and I are prepared for that. We know this is happening. We know that's what the first few games are going to be like. It's not our first rodeo. We know that spring training games are managed differently, so we're prepared for that. And, in terms of the pitching script, I call it a script because that's essentially what it is. I know before the game, I get tipped off by one of our coaches who the backups are going to be and when they're coming in and what positions they're going to play, so I can prepare for that. And it's just a matter of being prepared, and it's a lot more than you do for a regular season game. The regular season games I've done this year, it's been like exhale. Doing a major league game is difficult enough. It's complex, it's complicated, but it's so much easier than a spring game. The spring games are the hardest ones we do.
Yeah, I always say I call football games preseason games. They're like, you got to be really informed. A lot of numbers that you're not familiar with, guys that you're not familiar with. So I give you a lot of props. I even remember you guys had an over/under on that spring training game against the Angels, and you about it. A fantastic job, Mr. Neverett. An honor, sir, and continued success.
I appreciate it very much. Thanks.
All right, that's Tim Neverett talking legacy, prep, and the passion behind the craft. Travis, like you said, we're spoiled. We got Neverett, we got Joe Davis, we got Steven Nelson, we got incredible analysts, we got incredible pre- and post-game hosts. It's like the gift that keeps on giving when you watch Dodger baseball. It's not just like, here you go, watch the game. It's like, no, enjoy the broadcast as well with A-plus talent like Tim Neverett.
Yeah, and every once in a while, you'll be in another town or there's not a Dodger game on, you'll flip on another game and you'll hear something else and you realize how lucky we actually are, because not everybody is as good at it as those guys are. And it's a pleasure to get to listen to them regularly.
He's back in action this weekend. Dodgers, Rangers, make sure you listen to the radio broadcast. All right, so my question, how important is it to you that broadcasting excellence gets passed down like this from one generation to the next? Let me know your thoughts on YouTube or social media. Next on Locked On Dodgers, we take it down to AAA, where the stories are just as good and sometimes even more unpredictable.
Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, your inbox is overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping that the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that tells you all you need to know. In the minute or so we've been chatting, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, that according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support this show by saying you heard about Indeed on Locked On Dodgers. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs.
Are you new here? Welcome. Everydayers, you already know you're the heartbeat of our show. It's easy and free to help us out. Subscribe and like our content on YouTube. Drop a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify and hit us up on the Locked On Dodgers listener line at 2793-LOCKED. That's 279-356-2533. The voice behind the future, Inside OKC with Alex Freedman. If you want to understand the future of the Dodgers, you don't just watch the players, you listen to the voices telling you the stories on the way up. And that's where Alex Freedman comes in. He's been the play-by-play voice of the OKC Comets, previously OKC Dodgers, for over a decade, but his role goes way beyond the microphone. He's also handling media relations, meaning he's right in the middle of everything from clubhouse access to player storylines, etc. All the interviews that we've been able to bring from the OKC Comets, they were brought to you by Alex being able to coordinate them so I could interview these guys. We got Ryan Ward and Chris Campbell's coming up soon. We have already been able to hear from James Tibbs III and from Kyle Hurd. So thank you to Alex. Travis, when you're in minor league sports, you wear a lot of different hats, and that's a story right here with Alex.
Yeah, that's I think something that, you know this, Harry, I know this, having been around, broadcasters and players for as long as we have. But when you work in the minor leagues, you guaranteed do more than one thing. Like there is no such thing as I do this for this team. You might do this, but you also do this, and that. That there are just so many different hats that you need to wear, and it's a passion, right? It's a love affair with the game and being around it, because it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of fun too, I'm sure, but it is not what you think of when you think of a play-by-play guy necessarily. There's a lot that goes into it, and has nothing to do with the broadcasting part.
We talked about what that balance looks like, the most memorable rehab assignment that he's witnessed, and what fans might not realize about life in AAA baseball. Here's my conversation with Alex Freedman. We're here in the visiting broadcast booth at the Las Vegas ballpark with Alex Freedman, who has been with the Dodgers AAA organization for over a decade now, the OKC Comets, previously the Oklahoma City Dodgers. Alex, how has it been being able to broadcast the future players for the Dodgers for as long as you have?
People ask me what's my favorite part of my job, and one of the things I say off the top of my head almost every time is being part of the Dodgers organization. The success the team has on the field, the quality of people that they bring in, whether it's players, coaches, those in the front office, roving personnel, everyone is just always such a pleasure to deal with and be around. So it is just such a top-notch organization. Of course, I know your audience knows that, but as someone who gets to live it on a daily basis, I can tell you it's not just exactly what they say. I mean, it is exactly what they say in terms of how the Dodgers go, but it's real. I don't know why I'm losing my train of thought here, but no, it's just such a great thing to be a part of.
I was just talking with Tim Neverett, who does play-by-play for the Dodgers on radio and TV. Minor leagues is a different monster. We're here in your broadcast booth, and it's you flying solo. When you go to the big leagues, they got like 10 broadcasters left and right. How big of a challenge is it going 9 innings day after day after day and doing it on your own?
Well, the pitch clock certainly helps compared to what it was before the pitch clock, although just the style that our team has played beginning of this year, last year, with a lot of offense and the pitching struggling a little bit, it can make the games a little bit longer, so it can be a challenge. But I think the bigger challenge in the minor leagues is you're wearing many hats. You're performing a lot of different duties, whether it's in my case, we're also overseeing communications, media relations, baseball information, in addition to all my broadcasting duties, helping out with travel too. There are a lot of folks who have similar positions to mine who have sales responsibilities. So I think that's the biggest difference between the big leagues and the minor leagues, whether it's AAA or whether it's single A, is that your broadcaster is not just the team broadcaster. They have a lot of other things that they're balancing on a daily basis.
And that's a huge challenge because you have to take time to prepare for every game, but also then you're looking at press releases. You're looking at ways to share content with the media over there in OKC and nationwide. And now you got Haesung Kim out here playing and sharing stuff for people in South Korea. How hard is that on a day-to-day basis? Because I can only imagine preparing for the game is very difficult, and then adding those responsibilities, there's not enough hours in a day.
Sometimes it certainly feels that way, and there are going to be some games you go in where you're not as prepared maybe as you would like to be, but that's when you kind of lean on your general knowledge base, and the prep never stops, as you know, in your various play-by-play roles too, that just because you prepare something for one game doesn't necessarily going to use it that one game. That you do your homework and you have your notes, you log it, and a lot of stuff that we do and we prepare for is evergreen, so you go on that, and a lot of times there are just games where, fortunately, if the pace is good, you don't have to necessarily work in a whole lot of extra stuff. You just kind of say what your eyes tell you.
So right now you got Kim on this roster, but you've had legends, you've had all-stars, you had MVPs come through the OKC Comets on a rehab assignment. Who are the top 3 players that you've been calling that you've called before that you're like, holy crap, I'm calling this guy playing a game right now?
It's hard not to put Clayton Kershaw at the top, especially his first ever rehab game with us, 2017, when he was more towards his peak and his dominance. I remember that game. They fit people in our ballpark in every possible crevice they could. And it's also when you have a guy like that who's so notable, the crowd is big, but it's not as loud as you expect it to be because everyone is so quiet and engaged wanting to watch that person pitch. So we got to see him pitch 5 innings, pitch great that day. Now he would have a few subsequent outings with us, but that first one was really, really special. Just seeing guys who were with us then go on to win major awards have a lot to do with the Dodgers. Corey Seager, Cody Bellinger, Will Smith, Max Muncy, Andy Pages. I mean, the list really goes on and on.
Yeah, it's like it's nonstop. And before they were the Dodgers affiliate, the OKC team was the Astros affiliate. So that 2017 World Series, I'm pretty sure you were watching it and you're like, that's pretty crazy. I know a lot of these guys on the field.
It was a weird situation in a sense because at that time, of course, we're the Dodgers affiliate and have been for a few years. But like you said, my first few years in Oklahoma City were the Astros affiliate. And that's when they were really in the depths of their rebuild, when they're losing 110-plus games in the big league on a regular basis, but they had the talent come in, so there were a lot of eyes on Oklahoma City, from George Springer, probably the most notable of those players, Dallas Keuchel as well. So it was weird because, yes, you knew some guys, and maybe in a different circumstance we would have celebrated some of our alumni winning a World Series, but not when it came at the expense of our current affiliate.
And my last one, we all have the dream, making it to the big leagues, making it to the big time. How is it being patient and waiting for that opportunity? And I'm pretty sure every shot that there is, you take it. I was talking with Tim Neverett. It's like we get told no a lot of times. But how is it being patient and waiting for that opportunity? Because OKC is great. It's great being able to do play-by-play, but I'm pretty sure you want Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL, NHL to go into one of those very few limited spots.
Yeah, and again, baseball's my passion. Baseball's really the only line of pro sports I want to continue pursuing. It's very hard to imagine a life without working in pro baseball in it, whether that's at AAA or maybe, fortunately, one day at the major leagues. It's very hard for players to get there. There are 26 spots. It's even harder for broadcasters to get there, statistically speaking, and you have to have literally hundreds of things go your way. There's so many people who are in my shoes or throughout the minor leagues who could easily step into a minor league or major league broadcast booth right now, and there's just really, when you're trying to just find those fine-tooth comb margins between people. It's so tough when basically you have a wealth of people that you could choose to do that job from. So yeah, it's a game that, like I said, position, and I'm very fortunate to be in it, of course, not only in Oklahoma City, but affiliated with the Dodgers and being part of the Dodgers organization. It's hard to get a whole lot better than this at the AAA level.
No doubt about it. Locked On Dodgers fam, this is Alex Freedman. You got to follow him on social media. Check out the MLB TV games with the Oklahoma City Comets. That's the voice that you will be listening, and we hope to see you in the show very soon. I was asking the guys about the call. I hope you get the call very soon, man.
Well, thank you, Harry. It's been great having you out here the last couple days and getting to know you. And thanks to all the Dodgers fans tuning in as well.
Big thanks to Alex for giving us that inside look at the heartbeat of the Dodgers pipeline, because those stories, they're tomorrow's headlines. Which part of the minor league grind fascinates you the most, the player development side or the behind-the-scenes storytelling? Drop your answer in the comments or reach out on social media. I want to hear from you. Let me know. Travis, that was fun being able to listen to a pair of the voices for the Dodgers, one with the Major League club, the other with the AAA club.
Absolutely. Like you said, it's just we spend so much time talking about the games and this player and this decision and that decision, to get a chance to talk to the people that kind of have a very different job in and around the team is always fascinating to me. I enjoyed it a lot.
No doubt about it. All right, that'll do it for today's pod. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. We'll be back on Monday as the Dodgers kick off a 6-game homestand by hosting the Texas Rangers this weekend at Chavez Ravine. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Dodgers ad-free, plus members-only Discord access, and more. Head to LockedOnDodgers.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On Fantasy Baseball. We appreciate you riding with us. Until next time, keep it real, keep it Dodger Blue.